Welcome to playoff week, beautiful people. This is the walkthrough where the students of the game in class begins now. This is the Domingo celebration. Here it is. Here it is. Hey. Okay, here we go. Let's wrap it up playoff week. For the first time in probably, half a decade, Jett, this is playoff week for Franklin High School. So welcome to the first ever Franklin High School playoff edition of the walkthrough.
Come on.
I'm your host, Gentry and Jett, and I'm joined by the probably the last of the playoff Fred Franklin faithful.
They got a year and after me.
No, strike that for the record. No, allegedly.
Allegedly.
But Jett, how are you feeling here on playoff week?
Playoff week, man. I mean, that just encompasses everything that I'm feeling about this week. Super pumped for the boys. Excited that they get this opportunity.
Absolutely. If we had the NFL rights, we'd be playing the Herm Edwards playoff interview soundbite. But if you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to like and subscribe. We're available anywhere you listen to podcasts. Students of the Game TN is the Instagram. Tag at gmail.com for your last chances for the fireside chat. So here we go. Jett, before we get into the actual game, you know what I love. We're going to go straight into our favorite segment with Mr. Lance Cook. So start the sirens, producer Chuck, because it's time for Good Comp, Bad Comp. Give me the sirens, baby. Playoff edition, Good Comp, Bad Comp. It's playoff edition, everything here. And so because it's a playoffs, we said, hey, we want to comp not one, but two of these seniors right here. Yep. So we did Mr. Thompson King and we did Mr. Andy Dixon, the corner. Boys. So I want to start.
Love to see the defense get some love.
Exactly. You know what? The defense needs some love, right? You guys need to feel love too. Defense needs love too. So Jett, let me set this up for you. Here we go. We'll start with Andy Dixon. We'll do each of them individually.
Let's start with the corner. I love it.
So that's right. So Lance said he's long and rangy, right? But he doesn't play too much man like maybe an Akeel Witherspoon would. And so his comp, exactly. So he's tall, rangy. He is Richard Sherman. Jett, good comp or bad comp?
I think it's a great comp.
Great comp. That's me, Lance. 1 for 1.
Way to dig deep in the bag, too. And get a guy that's been retired a couple years.
Yes, exactly. That's big time.
That shows the dedication Lance has to this segment.
I agree.
Great comp by Lance. I love the comparison. They're both guys that play a lot of cover three.
Yes.
Longer, rangy guys, just like Lance said. Good ball skills, smart guys. I really like that comp for Andy and Richard Sherman.
Why I love it is because Richard Sherman, back when he was in Seattle in the Legion of Boom, he played corner. He's got good ball skills. He was a former wide receiver under Jim Harbaugh when he coached at Stanford. So he's got good ball skills. So does Andy Dixon, Two-sport athlete, big baseball guy, right? Why I also like that is because he played in Dan Quinn's original defense when he was the defensive coordinator under Pete Carroll, And there was a lot of Cover three. That's why I think it was smart to not just go in and say, hey, he looks like one of these man cover corners. What does he actually stylistically play? That's what I loved about that Lance Cook comp.
Yep.
Now switching over to Tommy King. He said he's rangy. He's good in coverage, but he also can come up and play the run. Young, energetic, right? He flies all over the field, And so his comp was Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Jett. Good comp or bad comp?
It's a good comp.
Yes, I would agree.
This was another really hard one to find because Tommy's position, that apex player, that I think we call it the bandit in our defense, is something it's kind of been lost in the NFL.
Yes.
The NFL is really just playing nickel with another cornerback where Tommy plays because of the passing.
Yes.
So really hard comp to find. I like how Lance went and found an inside linebacker. I think the comparison between those two, I'm not going to say his name. I'm not even going to say it.
Okay, that's all right.
The comparison between those two is really good. Shout out to Lance again for coming up with another good comp.
You know what? I think good comp, bad name to spell is what was my understanding there. All right, Jett. Well, normally this is where we go into one of the segments called Back to the Future, but we haven't played them since my range back in, I think, 2016. Jett, should we go back to there?
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
No, I'm just kidding. It was good. I don't remember too much
I
from
gave
back
you
in
your
the day.
shot,
I
dude.
know. We don't have
I
too
thought
much.
you were going to hit him with the, when I was in high school.
I know. See, I'm not. See, I don't know. Am I at that age where I'm saying back when I was in high school? Maybe I am that age, but I remember traveling to Antioch. We played a couple homecoming games against Antioch. Played well, so it was always a fun game. But let's dive right into this game, okay?
I got a little bit of a breakdown from what Antioch has done this season. Right?
Yes, let's go back to the future just a little bit to earlier this season.
Just a little bit. So they're 6-4 wins against Lebanon, Nolensville, Cane Ridge, McGavick, Smyrna, Laverne. Losses against Oakland, Stewart's Creek, Mount Juliet, CPA. 4 good teams there. I think a key thing to look at throughout their schedule is, yes, they're 6-4. They're 4-1 against their region.
That's big.
Right.
That's big. That's what's got playoff implications.
Right. And then non-region, they're 2-4.
Okay.
So 2-3. My bad. So it's really hard to look back at their schedule and tell how good they are. They really didn't play any close games all season. It was either they played a team way below par or they played a team that was way better than them. They had 2 one-possession games against Smyrna and against Nolensville.
Okay, who we have played.
So I'm excited to see how they fare up against us and how we fare up against them.
I want to get into the schematics here because we've got a special segment when we get into the schematics. But before we do, the number one thing, I'll just briefly mention this because you did a great job. I think you crushed it. But they played Mount Juliet, and Mount Juliet beat them pretty handedly. And looking back just 2 weeks ago, our game, how we had a lot of success against Mount Juliet.
But
it's hard to look at. It's hard to cross comp like that. It's hard because of a matchups. Football's a big matchup game, so some teams might crush one team and get beat by another. But when the other two teams meet that kind of Bermuda Triangle, if you will, they might play each other very well just because of the matchups, right? One might be better in the run versus against the run versus, you know what I mean?
Just so much goes into a football game when it comes to game planning and all the different players and all the different things going on every single play. It is hard in football more than any other sport to compare cross games like that.
Yes.
But it's so easy to
especially when it's in Franklin's favor, right? We want to do it. Exactly. All right, Jett, let's get into those X's and O's that we mentioned. So we've got a special segment. I know we've had a couple of guests on, okay? We've had people in person, we've had coaches, we've had Lance Cook himself, but we have what we probably call our film room guy, our Greg Cosell, if you will, who's sitting down there and watches film. We have a former 2021 graduate of Nashville Christian School where he played quarterback. He then went on to play at Birmingham Southern, okay? He was a 3-sport athlete. I even hear that his senior year, he starred as Arnie in the Newsies musical of the senior play. Yep. We're talking about Mr. Matt McCleary in a segment I'm going to call Lean Back and Chair Chat. Matt McCleary, welcome in. Yeah, let's go. Here we go. Lean Back and Chair Chat.
Matt McCleary, what's up?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, man. Dude, one more thing I wanted to add to Matt McCleary's bio. Let's give the guy some props, okay?
Oh, you can only say this if you finish with the segment of Lean Back and Chair Chat. Okay.
Talk about a guy doubted by everyone. Undersized guy going to play college, quarterback, lefty, southpaw, has a great freshman year, positions himself as a backup, goes into that sophomore year, starting quarterback, leads his team to a 7-3 season, all conference year. Just a guy that's outperformed what he was supposed to do at every level. So I'm very glad to have Matt here on the podcast with us. Just a ball guy. And to outperform like that, you really have to dig in deep. It's not going to be something that's just handed to you. So he did that.
My comp for that, undersized, lefty, really highly intelligent. Give me Tua Tagovailoa. Okay, you like that? All right, we'll make sure. We'll call Lance in about 5 minutes to see if he likes that comp. No, I'm just kidding. You go ahead, Jett.
All right, Matt. What are we calling this? Lean back?
Lean back and chair chat.
Lean back and chair chat. Matt, you having a good day, man?
Yeah, I'm having a great day, guys. Like I said, thanks for having me on. Thanks for the kind words, intro. Little brew comparison.
Little brew comparison?
Yeah, when I watch the Addies this year, that's a lot of what I see in Brewer. Just, undersized guy, just a fighter. He's a gamer, man.
I agree completely, man.
He knows a lot of ball. He makes plays when he needs to be made. So I've had a lot of fun watching him this year.
Matt, what do you see when you watch this Antioch defense to give a preview for this Friday?
Yeah, so I watched a little bit of it this week. I think Nolensville has very comfortable offense to Franklin, so that was kind of my favorite game to check out. So what Franklin's going to see is they're going to base out of this 4-2-5. They like to live in that. They're not going to get too complicated. For you non-football people, that's nickel base. So they're going to have an even front with 4 down linemen, 2 inside linebackers. They like to keep it too high shell. But if they are getting beat in the run, they're going to spin it and get that extra hat in the run.
Which is that's where I like us too. Is it's really hard with this Franklin offense with the weapons they have on the outside and in the run game with Gawk and those guys up front. It's really hard for them to just go in on one of those games because we can do both so well.
I love that.
Right. And I was talking with Jett earlier, and he just let me know about kind of Franklin's favorite run schemes this year and let me in on. They like to run the split zone, the power on the counter, a lot of the gap scheme, which I think matches up very well. One thing I noticed, I think the weakest part of this Antioch defense is the defensive ends.
Defensive ends, okay.
Yeah, they stand up in their stances. They're not very disciplined. They don't squeeze down blocks, so if the tackle down blocks, they don't get their hands on them.
Okay.
And there's a lot of space between that. So I think those kick-out blocks, the split zone, if those guards and fullback positions are aggressive, and have their head on the right side of the block, I think they can create a lot of space for those running backs.
So it's like the way that their base defense matches up well for us with the run plays, the schemes that we're running.
Right, and I think just how those defensive ends play those tackles and how they move matches up well with the gap scheme.
What can we expect to see coverage-wise? What kind of things are they going to give us down the field in the intermediate game, screen game? Screen game's a huge thing for Franklin. What have you seen that is going to show how we match up well?
Yeah, so they got some good athletes in the secondary, and they definitely want to highlight those guys. One thing they do that they love to do against 3x1 especially is they'll go zone to the field, a little mixed coverage. They'll go zone to the field, man into the boundary. So they got a bigger, more physical corner, number 12, into the boundary. He's going to play heavy man, inside tilt, force you to the sideline. And then to the field, they got a smaller corner. He's got better feet. He's going to play off and keep everything in front of him. And that apex, the outside linebacker star type guy to the field is a heavier set guy. And he's going to play zone. He's going to try to get hands on those slot guys. Yeah, so they'll mix it up. I think it'll be important to take advantage of that slot matchup. Y'all were talking earlier about Lucas and Wills being good 50-50 guys this year. And I think that's going to be huge, especially if Brewer can keep that safety to the field if they go one high. And just know when they go one high, keep that safety in the middle of the field and definitely utilize that boundary jump ball.
I love hearing it. Doesn't that get
it gets me very fired up. I felt like I just spent 3 days at a coaching clinic with him talking to 5 minutes of Matt McCleary. So, Jay, why don't we give it up for Matt McCleary? Matt, thank you so much for coming on. Hey, Matt, you have a great rest of your day. And, hey, go Admirals this Friday.
Go Admirals this Friday.
Hey, real quick, who's NCS got this weekend? First round of playoffs?
Yeah, the Eagles are off. We got the 1 seed.
Then
next week they got one.
And that'd be nice.
So they're resting up, getting ready for week 2.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, we'll cheer for them, and then next time we'll call you, it'll all be about the senior musical. So it'll be a good one. So, all right, Jett. Now, you got Matty Ice's take on the defense. Anything to add to what he was saying on the defense, or pretty much you guys had talked before? Pretty much agree on all fronts.
Yeah, I think he did a great job of explaining it.
He did, absolutely.
He's just a football guy, you know. He has a great way of seeing the field. To be a quarterback, you kind of have to be more than anybody else.
Yes, that's right. It's true.
They do their strength on their defense is probably their athlete. It's hard. They're pretty evenly top to bottom. They're just average to above average, pretty much at every position. Their D line's going to be smaller but faster, so it's kind of a give and take there. Their DBs they're athletic, but sometimes they're undisciplined, have bad eyes. I think there's a lot of things that we can exploit, especially pre-snap, being able to see what they're doing.
We've
talked every week about.
We always talk about that. We emphasize that. Absolutely.
Disguise and what's the other team doing to disguise.
100%.
They're not great at disguising. They're kind of going to show you what they do before they do.
Love that. Makes it easier on us pre-snap, right?
Yeah, absolutely. See what they're doing. Go attack their weaknesses and put our strengths in that situation.
Speaking of our strengths, let's switch now to Antioch's offense, okay? The first thing I will say, the first thing that jumps off the page is the talent that comes from Antioch's quarterback. He's going to walk out there and he's going to look like Joe Milton, right? And I know listen, hang on now. I know what you guys are thinking.
We're hyping him up way too much. I'm saying
he's going to look like Joe Milton because I know when I said that, the UT fans are out there being like, "Oh, that's what we got to worry about? You're telling me we got to worry about overthrows and bad situational awareness?" No, I'm saying he looks like Joe Milton, okay? He's not as strong arm as Joe Milton. He's a little more on time and accurate. But I just want to say that because he's probably the best player on their offense.
Yeah.
That's probably, and maybe it's just because I don't know how good the rest of the offense, maybe he's just rises above the rest, right?
That's fair.
But when you, as an offensive coordinator, when you have a quarterback that makes plays both on script and off script, what you do is you like to get all your receivers and athletes on the field, spread them out so that it allows your quarterback, if the play breaks down, to go off script and turn it into backyard football. Mm-hmm. And so to kind of show a little bit on how they do this and the tags they do off of it, let's go to the chalkboard. All right, here we go. Bring it up. All right, I'm going to try to kind of draw on it here while we hold it up. So they keep it super simple in the run game because they like to build off of that. How do you build an offense? The same way you build a house, with a foundation, okay? So the foundation is this inside zone run. As you see, the offensive linemen are going to double and then climb, try to get a Bob block. Bob stands for big on backer because you know when those guys in the trenches get their paws on those linebackers, you're getting first and second level runs, okay? So what they do off of that, which we've talked a lot about in the past, is they will run inside zone read. They'll leave this guy unblocked, and the quarterback has the opportunity to pull it if he crashes, okay? What they also do, though, building off of that's step 2. Here's step 3. They bubble this guy out, so if this guy crashes, they will pitch it out here, and they've got numbers on the edge. That's step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 4 is they'll slip this guy behind him on a slant so that if this guy crashes to the quarterback and this guy crashes to the bubble, they'll pitch it nice and over for a touchdown on this slant. And so look out for that. Plays that look the same but are different in Antioch's offense. Jett, any comments on those before I move on to the next biggest thing that they do on offense?
That's right there. That triple option is really just something that's a defense's nightmare to guard. Mm-hmm. If it's run well.
Yes, you have to execute step 1 for step 2 to work.
Right.
And
it's a lot of steps. It's a complicated play. That's why everyone doesn't run it. Because not everyone can run it crisply. We've seen them do it well sometimes. We've seen them do it bad sometimes. I expect Dr. Defense to get the boys ready for that play. He knows it's something he's got to emphasize. And they might be able to get sometimes, but it's not a high percentage play. It's a hard play to hit. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, consistent.
I agree. I have no doubt that Dr. Defense can stop this, right? Because if you run that, your whole situation is you're trying to put defensive players in a bind.
Right.
May have them make tough decisions, like if it's worth waiting in a long line in the McDonald's for dinner. You know what I mean?
Right,
when you see that line, for most people, it's 50-50. But for Pape, with McDonald's, it's always 80-20. See what I did there? You like what I did there? 80-20? All right. Okay, so yes, you're putting defensive players in a bind. Another way they do that is they'll kind of sneak their best slot receiver running back in kind of an H-back tight end position where he kind of blends into that offense. And what they'll do is they will orbit motion the slot because they know if they see 2 high safeties, when they get motion, they're going to check because one's got to roll and come down.
Right.
And so they'll have another guy go to the middle of the field. They'll have a single receiver to the H-back side. He'll run a post, and then you've got the safety rolling down, and they'll slip him from that tight end position on a wheel because the corner will run with the post and the safety's looking at that orbit motion.
Right.
And so they'll kind of sneak it in there. So watch some of those 2 things of the spread out and the H-back position. But I think we just have the athletes to stop it, right? I mean, even our backup corners, like Pape's a second string DB and he gets an interception pretty much every time he's out there. Jalen, we had 2 defensive touchdowns, you know what I mean? And our Domingo, you know what I mean? Like we just got so many athletes that even the tricky stuff, I feel like we can, even if we have a step behind, they're athletic enough to make up for and just make a play.
I agree. And I think that last play you talked about for Antioch with slipping out the tight end with the wheel is a really good one. It's one that plays to against our leverage.
Yep.
It's something they're trying to mess with our eyes, mess with our leverage. It's a good play by them. I'm glad that we've seen it on film. We're going to be ready for it. But I like what you said, too.
Yeah.
I think this defense has really performed so well the entire season. Dr. Defenses had them ready in and out every single week.
Yes.
And the boys have executed. They've
been
the first 9 weeks of the season, they tackled fantastically against every single team. Had a couple slip-ups late in the season. Had some injuries.
I mean, we've had Jalen Little had a
from.
position change almost a couple weeks into the season, and now he's have some pick sixes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I completely
he definitely
agree.
settled in his new safety spot
Well.
I really am excited to see this defense. I think they're going to have their best game of the season. I think that they like the hype. They like the challenge of playing a good quarterback. I know they have a good lineman or two, one receiver that stands out. So I'm glad that we get this challenge week 1 of the playoffs to go out there and perform and show how good our defense is. Because this is a defense that had Ravenwood, the top team in the state, at 14 points in the fourth quarter.
Exactly, 100%.
And I said before
and not
that
even Brentwood
game,
could do that. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I said before that Ravenwood game, I think our defense can play with anybody in the state, and they proved it in that game. So like, there's no dude they can play. I don't care how many offers you have. I don't care if you look like Joe Milton. These guys are not going to be scared.
For UT fans, that's not a compliment. First of all,
look
exactly.
the key.
So, Jed, now that we talked about the X's and O's, talk to me about the keys to victory and your rally cry for this playoff Friday.
Do you have any keys?
I do. Do you want me to go first?
Well, yeah, you go.
I got one key. All right. My key is clear eyes, full hearts. Can't lose.
We should have saved it. We should have saved it. Oh my gosh.
I know. Anyway, the reason I put that is because obviously that's a reference to Friday Night Lights, and playoff football is what movies are made of. You know what I mean? Like, this is the games that they make the movies about. Playoff football, back against the wall, on the road, in Antioch, which clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. Believe in yourselves. You got nothing to lose. You're playing with house money. You're going in there, and the Franklin faithful will have your back, right?
Absolutely.
But go in there and just play your game, right? Do what you trust your talent, trust your instincts, and just play your game and be confident that I don't care who we play, you trust what you do, you can take on anybody in the county, in the tri-state area, and in the state. Jed, give me your
I feel like we should shut the pod down. I feel like that was a great rant, dude. I love that. I'm fired up. I'm not even playing on Friday night. Just to bounce off what you said, because I love that so much. Clear eyes. What does that really mean? I think it's focus.
Lock in. Dial in. Lock in.
You know exactly what's in front of you. You know the task at hand. You know the plays you've been executing all season, the new wrinkles that you've put in practice over the weeks. You know the film that you watched. You know what you're going to see from them. Clear eyes is being there in the moment, trusting yourself, and being ready to go. Full hearts, I think, is feeling every feeling you felt over the last 10 years of playing football, the last year of
transferring that energy into the game.
The practice, the workouts, the times you hated it, the times you loved it, the
all
wins,
those emotions.
Everything has built up. All the work you've put in comes to this moment, and that's not something that should scare anybody. That should give you confidence.
Absolutely.
You got yourself to this point. You put yourself in a good position.
And you're playing on this Friday night with all the dudes who you went to those workouts you hated playing right next to you. I think that is a test to that those full hearts too. Is like you're out there, you're going to war, you're going to battle with your brothers in arms, right? And you know the reason you're out there doing stuff is because you know that the reason I would have your back is because I know you got my back. That's the mentality you got to have with those full hearts. Talk to me about can't lose.
I got some really. Can't lose. Can't lose. It's just when you combine those things together.
It's a math equation. That's the equal math equation. That's a good point.
Love, the focus and love together.
Focus and love. I feel like that's a song. I think you're right. That's a slam. I think we're just the spoken word that was right there. I feel like I heard snaps from the studio audience. Jed, talk to me about your keys.
I got some really lame keys after that.
You wanted me to go first. No.
I know. I totally sold on that.
I
thought you were gonna say one of these keys. That's what I was trying to say.
Sorry.
First key to victory is going to be offense. It's going to be win the pre-snap.
Okay,
so we touched on it a little bit. They are going to show what they're doing pre-snap. We're going to be able to use motions and shifts to confuse them. They really have trouble with those. Us attacking the coverage that they're playing, like Matt said, that they don't hide it. They pretty much do base stuff to each formation. Winning that pre-snap, identifying when those linebackers are blitzing. This comes from the box with coaching. It comes from the players on the field, especially Brewer, comes from the linemen on the field with protection. The receivers on the field seeing the coverage that they're getting, talking to Brewer on the sideline, talking to coach on the sideline, getting everyone working together leads us to winning the pre-snap. If we win the pre-snap, we can't lose the post-snap. We can't.
Absolutely.
If we set ourselves up to win before we even say hi, then it just gives us such an advantage over them.
Right.
Second key to victory.
Yeah.
For me. It's just do your job. Just don't make it about too much. I know it's
Bill
a
Belichick,
high-intensity
do your job.
game.
Yeah.
We just ranted about clear eyes, full hearts can't lose.
Don't try to be a hero. No need to be a hero.
Doing your job is what it takes for this team to win. Every single football team, offense, defense, you all have to play together. That's the reason you have that. A play called is each person has one job. It takes all of it to have a successful play. So just not making it too much. Be in the moment. You don't have to be the hero. Being the hero is going to be you doing your job.
I cannot wait to watch the boys in Antioch on Friday night. We'll be there with our clear eyes, our full hearts, knowing that they won't lose, okay? Now switching to a pulse of all the other 6A first-round playoff games. We're going to go quick to, Jett, say it with me, the lightning round. Shh. All right, man, that feels good. Oakland's taking on Lebanon. Give me Oakland.
Oakland.
Mount Juliet's taking on Coffee County. Give me Mount Juliet.
Mount Juliet.
Riverdale's taking on Cookeville. Give me Riverdale.
Riverdale.
Green Hill versus Blackman. Give me Blackman.
Green Hill.
Stewart's Creek versus Indy. Give me Indy.
I'll take Stewart's Creek.
Brentwood versus Smyrna. Give me Brentwood.
Brentwood.
Ravenwood versus Cane Ridge. Give me Ravenwood.
Ravenwood.
Dixon County at Houston. Give me Houston.
Houston's going to kill.
All right, Jett, here we go. Now going on to the college games. We're going to Road to Glory. I'll just do my line of the week, and we'll do the...
Before. I'm gonna toot my own horn. 3 and 4 my picks last week. 2-0
my
lines of the week.
Sharp.
1-1 on underdogs. You know, I've been waiting for that to happen so I could mention it and shout myself out.
Hey, you've earned it, pal. You've earned it. So my line of the week is going to be in the Vandy, South Carolina game.
I was looking at that one too.
Vandy is underdogs. They are plus 3.5 in Nashville against South Carolina.
I love that.
Here's your line of the week.
Will you do your underdog?
Yes, I will. Who let the underdogs out? Give me Missouri, who's plus 2.5, hosting Oklahoma.
Okay, nice.
I mean, Missouri's 6-2, Oklahoma's 5-4. I understand that they've had some issues and some injuries. So give me Missouri.
Quarterback is out. I think that's what.
That's all right. I'm still
kind of sucks.
No, hang on now. I trust the coaching. I trust the camaraderie.
Oklahoma's had a rough season.
And the experience.
Okay. Right. For my line of the week, give me Georgia minus 2.5 at Ole Miss. I think they're just going to overpower Ole Miss. It's a scary pick.
That is a scary pick.
Ole Miss has so much potential on offense, but I think Georgia's just gonna suffocate them on defense and offense. I think it's going to be a close game, but I like Georgia by a field goal.
Okay, you know what this means now, Jett. Who let the underdogs out?
Let's go. Give me. Ride with the state of Georgia here. Give me Georgia Tech money line versus Miami. That's all you did. I'm sorry, Duke. I'm sorry.
Duke
played them good, dude.
Ended up losing by 30.
Okay. So they were down by 7 in the fourth quarter.
All right.
This is the closest game Miami's had betting wise in a couple weeks. And like I've said all season, I don't think they're going to be undefeated. I'm sorry, Stephen Brewster. I love Cam Ward. Love the team. Just don't think they're going to go undefeated. Give me Georgia Tech money line over Miami. Okay,
now moving into the Shark Tank. Let's cue the music. You ready, Jett? 3, 2, 1. Dun 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 dun. Ooh, okay.
Sometimes I think we're doing the what's the movie one?
The Jaws.
The Jaws theme song.
Dun 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 dun.
See, that's that dun 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 dun.
Maybe we should be doing that. Okay. All right. So I really battled back and forth with this one. I think the line of the week is Detroit against the beat-up Texans minus 3.5. Is that yours?
I was just saying.
Okay.
No, it's good.
You keep that one. I'll move my line. No, I will. That was my line of the week. We have the same line of the week. All right. Why do you? I think the lines are just when they beat teams, they have the Mike Tyson knockout punch. Yeah. They don't just beat them; they destroy them. Jett, what's your reason?
Yeah, same reason. The Lions are just a powerhouse. I think they're going to contend for the Super Bowl this year. I think they're going to make the Super Bowl. We'll just see if they can win it. But yeah, Texans have been struggling the last couple of weeks. I like that line a lot.
So Jett, for the NFL, who let the underdogs out? Who? Give me Bucks +6 at home against the Niners.
I like that.
I think off an emotional game against the Chiefs, they're going to come back firing. And I think the Niners have a lot of injuries and a lot of stuff going on, even though they're coming off out of a bye. Was that your dog?
But I picked 2. That was my favorite one. I love that pick, too. I'll be telling you on that one.
All right.
Give me also a little bit riskier, but give me the Bengals on Thursday night versus the Ravens.
That is a little bit riskier.
It is riskier.
I do like that. I don't hate that because it's a divisional game.
Right, divisional game. You know, you always
Lean
get
back,
Joe
Chair Chat,
Shiesty up there.
Yeah.
You get Joe Shiesty just coming with that confidence. They know they can beat this Ravens team, and they've struggled a couple games recently here. So I like the Bucs a lot more, but give me the Bengals also.
Well, that's the show. Here we go. Okay, so now wrapping up, we will see you guys obviously for Friday night. Please come out and show and support the boys. They hear the cowbells. That's what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to find the word. They hear the cowbells. They hear you guys cheering. Please come out, support the boys, and then we'll see you. We will see you for a next week's preview episode for round 2.
Yeah,
we will see you. See you there.